What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today, I'm going to be talking about Zach Wilson's performance against the Houston Texans. Not only was it a good one, it was probably the best of his career. Actually, not probably. It was definitely better than the last time he did it, which was against the Kansas City Chiefs earlier this season. That was well regarded as the best game of his career, but now there is a new best game of his career against the Houston Texans. Well, how did it happen? We're going to talk about the numbers, how it happened, what needs to continue to happen, what needs to change from his game going forward, breaking down all the good stuff. Let's take a look at the box score first. 27 of 36, 75 completion percentage, 301 yards, 8.4 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 117.9 rating, and the lost fumble. Really good, really solid performance. I can't stress enough. The completion percentage was high. The yards per attempt was up there. They got the ball into the end zone, throwing it multiple times. I was hoping to see him get his first career 3-touchdown day. That would have been really nice, but I'll take it. 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 75% completion percentage. That's epic. And how did that happen? I think this quote from DJ Reed is the biggest example of how this performance happened. It's his mindset. He told me, this is what was said to Rich Cimini by DJ Reed. He told me, "I'm playing for y'all. I have nothing to lose." Reed told Cimini of ESPN. He said, "What's the worst that could happen? I get benched again?" That's what he said, and that's the way he played. It showed. That has to be that has to be his mindset. Please, I would love to see Zach Wilson continue to play this way. I would love to see him play like that every single week. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. The consistency with Zach has been his biggest issue. Consistency and confidence. We'll get to that at the end. Those are really the two biggest things. But he went into it in this game in the truly let it rip mindset, and it worked. He needs to play this way every single week. It would be, at least we would be able to see if this is sustainable, if this is something that he can continue to do and build off of. There's a few examples, I think, that personify this mindset from this game. I have a couple of plays. The first is the third down rollout to Garrett Wilson. Pressure comes, he rolls to the left, throws it across his body to the middle of the field. Is it a risky play? Yeah, it's a risky play, but when he's playing confidently, he is making those throws. When he is playing scared out of his gourd, or when he is trying not to make the mistake, that's when those plays turn into an interception. That's when he overthinks things and the mistakes come. He wasn't the check down king, and yes, there were a lot of passes to Breece Hall, understandably so. He was excellent in this game against the Houston Texans, but how many times this year did Zach Wilson play with this conservative mindset? And I think some of it comes from the coaching staff, and some of it is absolutely on the coaching staff, and some of it's also on the quarterback, but the mindset was really good. And then how about the throw on 2nd and long to Jeremy Rucker? The pump fake, put it in a really good spot where only his guy could get it, and makes a big play. The aggressiveness is exactly what I want to see. I want to continue to see this version of Zach Wilson. The playing scared Zach Wilson is not a fun watch. He's not good when he's playing that way. But when he is confident and throwing the football and not afraid to make the mistake, guess what? Good things happen. And they got the ball in the playmakers' hands, your two best playmakers. And you got to give credit to Nathaniel Hackett also. I thought he called a very good game. Both he and Zach Wilson had their best game of the season, and I don't think it's a surprise that Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall combined for 17 catches, 194 yards, and a touchdown. They don't have a viable number 2 option at wide receiver right now. They got the tight ends involved. Tyler Conklin and Jeremy Rucker were great. The throws up the seam to Tyler Conklin were fantastic. He made a couple of contested catches. He's been great this year. And the balls have been put in a really good spot, or at least in this game against the Houston Texans, Zach Wilson was putting the ball in a really good spot in order for Tyler Conklin to go out there and make a play. And he did it. That was, again, this is exactly what I want to see. The only thing that I want to see differently from Zach Wilson going forward, right now, based off this performance, so we have to talk about the fumble. Again, we spent a lot of time on the positives. This is a 95% positive video, 5%, please stop fumbling the football. In this instance, he had a first down. All he had to do was go down and slide. Ball security has been a really big issue for him. He has 6 lost fumbles this year. That's a lot. He has 13 turnovers now in 10 games. If the turnovers go away, or not go fully away, they're never going to ever go fully away. If you could do a better job of limiting them, especially on fumbles, man. He's done all right with the interceptions. The interception numbers are down. That's good. But you can't ignore fumbles. Fumbles still count as turnovers. Hold on to the football. Consistency and confidence. That's where we will leave off with this video. Consistency and confidence. We've seen these flashes before from Zach Wilson. That's the biggest reason why Zach Wilson went in the top 5 is because we saw these high flashes from him, and the NFL thought, hey, if we could get him to do the little things right, and you have these high-end flashes, you're going to get a really good player. And that's why I wanted him in the top 5. I wanted the Jets to draft Zach Wilson. The problem in year 3 and for a lot of his career is the flashes are too far and few between. This year he played great against Kansas City, had a couple of okay games in a row against Denver, against Philadelphia. The final drive against the Giants was a good one, but he wasn't very good for most of that game. And then a couple of games where he struggled. I mean, the passing yards were very, very high against the the Los Angeles Chargers. And he scored 6 points in that game. He lost 2 fumbles in that game. There were 8 sacks in that game. And yeah, the offensive line was bad, and that played a factor in it too. But that was one of those where he was holding on to the ball and wasn't playing confidently. Then the next week against the Raiders, they were moving the ball in the first half well, had to settle for 4 field goals. They couldn't get in the end zone. And CJ Uzomah is a big reason for the frustration on that one. That game really stings. The Raiders and the Patriots games, and you could toss in the Falcons game now too, from last week. If the Jets miss the playoffs, which let's be honest, they need to win out and get some help if they want to be a playoff team. You're gonna be looking at those games at the end of the year and going, if they just somehow found a way, they would have been alive and in the mix. And even if they found a way for 2 of those 3 games, not all 3, but 2 of the 3, they would be 7-6 right now with just about every single other team in the AFC and right in the mix. But unfortunately, that's not the case. They aren't 7-6. They are 5-8, and this version of Zach Wilson was not what we were seeing the last few weeks before he was benched. He was playing scared out of his mind in Buffalo, wasn't playing well, and the play, I thought, against the Chargers and the Raiders wasn't good enough. But now they scored points. They put up a 30 spot. They finally broke the curse, right? They went 6 straight games scoring 13 points or less. Let's see them do it again. Let's see this offense do it again. I hope they do. I hope they don't go right back to scoring 13 or less points. I hope they're able to get in the end zone a few times every week. That would be fantastic. I would sign up for that in a second. So Zach Wilson, congrats. Best game of his career. Hope he does it again next week against the Miami Dolphins. Big test in the division coming up this week. Let me know your thoughts on Zach Wilson's performance down below in the comments. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary. I'll catch you next time.